Hello, my friend. I'm really happy you're here today. Before we begin, I want to ask you a simple question. What are you waiting for? Really, take a moment and think about it. How long have you wanted to speak English with more confidence? Maybe 1 year, maybe 3 years, maybe even 5 years. During that time, maybe you have watched many English videos, opened grammar books, memorized tense charts, learned rules, watched lessons, saved tips, and told yourself, one day I will speak English fluently. But even after doing all of that, maybe a part of you still feels stuck. Maybe you understand English, but when it is time to speak, your mind starts searching for the correct tense. You ask yourself, should I use present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, continuous simple, or something else? And before you finish thinking, the conversation has already moved forward. My friend, if this has happened to you, please understand something important. This does not mean you are bad at English. It does not mean you cannot learn grammar. And it does not mean English is impossible. It simply means you may be carrying too much grammar pressure in your mind when you speak. Many learners believe they must master 14 tenses before they can speak confidently. They think, when I know all the tenses, then I will speak. But real speaking does not work like that. Real speaking is not a grammar exam. Real speaking is a living moment. You need to talk about your day, your plans, your feelings, your memories, your problems, your work, your family, your ideas, and your dreams. And for most daily conversations, you do not need every complicated tense at the beginning. You need a small group of useful tenses that you can use quickly, clearly, and naturally. So in today's lesson, I'm Jack Ma, and I want to help you see English tenses in a new way. I do not want you to feel afraid of tenses. I do not want you to look at grammar like a heavy mountain. I want you to see tenses like simple tools in your hand. If you want to talk about your routine, you need one tool. If you want to talk about what is happening now, you need another tool. If you want to talk about yesterday, you need another tool. If you want to talk about your future plan, you need another tool. When you understand tenses like this, English becomes lighter. You stop asking, how can I remember everything? And you start asking, what do I want to say right now? Maybe you are waiting until you understand all 14 tenses perfectly. Maybe you are waiting until you can explain every rule. Maybe you are waiting until you stop making mistakes. But here is the truth. Most confident English speakers are not thinking about all tenses every time they speak. They are using the most common patterns again and again. They use present simple to talk about habits. They use present continuous to talk about what is happening now. They use past simple to talk about finished things. They use future forms to talk about plans. They use present perfect when the past connects to now. They are not solving a grammar puzzle every second. They are expressing meaning. And this is what I want for you too. Now, before we move deeper, I want you to imagine something. Imagine you are at work and someone asks you, what do you usually do in the morning? You do not need a complicated tense to answer. You can say, I wake up early, I check my messages, I drink tea, I prepare for work. This is simple present. It is not fancy, but it is powerful because it helps you talk about your normal life. Now imagine someone asks, what are you doing right now? You can say, I am listening to a lesson. I am practicing English. I am trying to speak more confidently. This is present continuous. Again, it is not complicated. It simply shows something happening now or around now. Let's practice slowly. Say this sentence after me in your own voice. I speak English every day. Now say it again with more confidence. I speak English every day. Now change it a little and make it true for your life. You can say, I practice English in the morning, or I watch English videos at night, or I listen to English when I walk. Good. This is how you make grammar useful. You do not just memorize the tense. You connect it with your real life. Now practice the present continuous. Say, I am learning English right now. Say it again slowly. I am learning English right now. Now make your own sentence. Maybe you say, I am improving my speaking. Maybe you say, I am training my mouth. Maybe you say, I am becoming more confident. Notice how simple this is. You are already using two important tenses. The problem is that many learners jump too quickly into grammar names and forget the purpose. They ask, what is the structure? But they forget to ask, what situation do I use it in? Structure is important, yes, but speaking needs situation. When you connect a tense to a daily situation, your brain remembers it faster. Present simple is for normal life. Present continuous is for now. Past simple is for finished actions. Future forms are for plans and decisions. This is the beginning of confidence. You are not trying to carry the whole grammar book in your head. You are learning to choose the right tool for the right moment. Now let's bring in the past, because daily conversation always needs the past. People ask, what did you do yesterday? How was your weekend? Did you finish your work? Where did you go? You do not need to panic. Most of the time you can use past simple. You can say, I went to the market. I cooked dinner. I called my friend. I watched a lesson. I practiced English for 20 minutes. This tense helps you talk about finished actions. It is one of the most useful tenses in spoken English. If you can use past simple well, you can tell stories, explain your day, answer questions, and share experiences. Let's practice past simple now. Repeat after me. Yesterday, I practiced English. Again, yesterday I practiced English. Now change the verb. Yesterday I watched a video. Yesterday I called my friend. Yesterday I learned 3 new phrases. Now make your own sentence about yesterday. Keep it simple. Do not try to sound advanced. Try to sound clear. You can say, yesterday I worked all day. You can say, yesterday I stayed at home. You can say, yesterday I felt tired, but I still practiced. This is real English. This is the kind of English you can actually use. Now maybe you are thinking, but Jack Ma, what about all the other tenses? What about past perfect continuous? What about future perfect? What about all those long names? My friend, those tenses are not useless. They have their place. But you do not need to start there if your goal is daily confident speaking. If you are building a house, you do not start with decoration. You start with the foundation. These 8 useful tenses are your speaking foundation. When your foundation becomes strong, the more advanced tenses will become easier later. But if you try to learn everything at once, you may feel heavy, confused, and silent. So today I want you to stop thinking, I cannot speak because I do not know all the tenses. Instead, I want you to think, I can start speaking because I know enough to begin. You already know more than you think. You can talk about what you do. You can talk about what you are doing. You can talk about what you did. You can talk about what you will do. These simple ideas cover so much of real life. Confidence does not come from knowing every possible rule. Confidence comes from using a few important patterns many times until they feel natural in your mouth. Stay with me today, my friend. Listen slowly, breathe calmly, and most importantly, do not let grammar become a wall between you and your voice. Tenses are not here to stop you. Tenses are here to help you show time. That is all. They help you say when something happens. If you remember this simple idea, English becomes much less scary. You are not learning 14 heavy things. You are learning how to speak about life in the present, the past, and the future. And from this moment, we will build that skill step by step, using the English you already need every single day. Now let's begin with the most important idea of today's lesson. You do not need to master every tense before you start speaking English. You need to master the tenses that help you talk about real life. This is very important because many learners spend too much time trying to understand tense charts, but they do not spend enough time using tenses in real sentences. They can explain grammar rules, but when someone asks them, what did you do yesterday? They freeze. They can write the names of many tenses, but when they need to say, I am busy right now, or I have finished my work, or I will call you later, they become unsure. My friend, speaking English confidently is not about remembering every grammar name. Speaking English confidently is about choosing simple tasks quickly and using them again and again until they feel natural. When we talk in daily life, we usually talk about a few main time ideas. We talk about what we do every day. We talk about what is happening now. We talk about what happened before. We talk about what was happening at a certain time in the past. We talk about what we have done until now. We talk about things that started in the past and are still continuing. We talk about future plans. And sometimes we talk about something that will be happening in the future. These ideas are enough for a large amount of normal conversation. You can talk about your work, your routine, your family, your study, your problems, your goals, your memories, your plans, and your progress with these main tense patterns. Let's make this simple. The first tense you need is the present simple. This tense is like your daily life tense. You use it for habits, routines, facts, and things that are generally true. You say, I wake up early. You say, I work in an office. You say, I study English every day. You say, my brother lives in another city. You say, she likes tea. These sentences are not complicated, but they are very powerful. If you can use the present simple well, you can talk about your normal life clearly. You can introduce yourself. You can explain your daily routine. You can describe what you do. You can talk about your likes and dislikes. This is one of the most useful tenses for everyday English. Now let's practice the present simple in a very natural way. Say this sentence slowly. I practice English every day. Now say it again with a little more confidence. I practice English every day. Now change the sentence for your own life. You can say, I practice English in the morning. You can say, I listen to English at night. You can say, I watch English videos after work. You can say, I read simple English stories. Do not worry if your sentence is short. Short, clear sentences are better than long, confusing sentences. Your goal is not to impress people with difficult grammar. Your goal is to speak clearly and confidently. The second tense you need is the present continuous. This tense helps you talk about what is happening now or around now. You use it when something is in progress. For example, you say, I am learning English. You say, I am watching this lesson. You say, I am working on my confidence. You say, she is cooking dinner. You say, they are talking outside. This tense feels active because it shows action happening now. In daily conversation, it is very useful because people often ask, what are you doing? Where are you going? What are you working on? Why are you smiling? And you can answer with the present continuous. Let's practice this tense too. Say this sentence, I'm improving my English. Say it again slowly, I am improving my English. Now say, I am training my mouth to speak. Again, I am training my mouth to speak. Now make it personal. You can say, I am learning new words. You can say, I am practicing my pronunciation. You can say, I am listening carefully. You can say, I'm trying to speak without fear. Notice how this tense helps you describe your current action, your current progress, and your current effort. This is why it is useful. It helps you talk about your life right now. Now here is something very important. Many learners confuse the present simple and present continuous because they translate from their own language. But in English, the difference can be simple. Present simple is for normal life. Present continuous is for now. If you say, I study English, it means English is part of your routine. If you say, I am studying English, it means you are doing it now or these days. If you say, I work in a bank, it means that is your job. If you say, I am working late today, it means this is happening today, not always. You do not need to make this complicated. Just remember this feeling. Normal root, present, simple. Happening now, present continuous. Let's compare them in real daily sentences. I drink tea every morning. This is present simple because it is a habit. I am drinking tea now. This is present continuous because it is happening now. I go to work by bus. This is present simple because it is a routine. I am going to work now. This is present continuous because it is happening now. I learn English every day. This is present simple because it is a habit. I am learning English with this lesson. This is present continuous because it is happening right now. Practice these pairs slowly. Do not rush. Your brain needs to feel the difference, not just memorize the rule. The third tense you need is the past simple. This tense helps you talk about finished actions in the past. You use it for yesterday, last night, last week, last month, last year, or any finished time before now. You say, I watched a movie yesterday. You say, I called my friend last night. You say, I learned 5 new phrases. You say, I went to the market. You say, I finished my homework. This tense is very important because daily conversation often includes the past. People ask you, what did you do yesterday? How was your day? Did you eat lunch? Where did you go? Who did you meet? If you can use past simple well, you can answer many real questions. Let's practice the past simple with your own life. Say, yesterday I practiced English. Again, yesterday I practiced English. Now say, last night I watched a lesson. Again, last night I watched a lesson. Now make your own sentence. You can say, yesterday I helped my friend. You can say, yesterday I cleaned my room. You can say, yesterday I worked hard. You can say, yesterday I felt tired. You can say, yesterday I tried to speak English. These sentences are simple, but they train your mouth to speak about finished actions. This is not just grammar. This is real communication. Now let's connect the first 3 tenses together, because this is how real English works. Imagine someone asks you about your English learning. You can say, I study English every day. Right now, I am practicing speaking. Yesterday, I watched an English lesson. In only 3 sentences, you used 3 powerful tenses. You talked about your routine, your current action, and your past action. This is enough to create a small conversation. You can use the same pattern for work. I work in a small company. Today, I am preparing a report. Yesterday, I finished an important meeting. You can use it for home. I cooked dinner at home. Right now, I am making rice. Yesterday, I made chicken. You can use it for study. I study at night. I am reviewing my notes. Yesterday, I learned a new topic. This is the secret. Do not learn tenses as separate empty rules. Learn them as speaking tools. When you learn present simple, immediately talk about your routine. When you learn present continuous, immediately talk about what is happening now. When you learn past simple, immediately talk about yesterday. This small change can make your English practice much stronger. Grammar becomes useful when it enters your real life. If you only read a rule, you may forget it. But if you use the rule to talk about your morning, your job, your food, your family, your plans, and your feelings, your brain begins to remember it naturally. Now I want you to do a short speaking exercise. Think about your normal day and say 3 sentences. First, say 1 present simple sentence. For example, I wake up at 7. Second, say 1 present continuous sentence. For example, I am listening to this lesson. Third, say 1 past simple sentence. For example, yesterday I practiced English. Now make your own version. Speak slowly. Give your mouth time. Do not judge your accent. Do not stop because of 1 mistake. Just speak. This is how you train confidence. You do not become confident by waiting. You become confident by speaking before you feel perfect. Now let's continue building your tense confidence with another useful tense that helps you speak about the past more clearly. The 4th tense you need is the past continuous. This tense helps you describe something that was happening at a specific time in the past. You use it when you want to show that an action was in progress before. For example, you can say, I was studying English at 8 o'clock last night. You can say, I was cooking dinner when my friend called. You can say, I was walking to work when it started raining. This tense is very useful for telling stories because real stories are not only about what happened. Real stories also include what was happening around that moment. Think about your daily life. Maybe yesterday you were working and suddenly your phone rang. You can say, I was working when my phone rang. Maybe you were sleeping and someone knocked on the door. You can say, I was sleeping when someone knocked on the door. Maybe you were watching a lesson and your internet stopped. You can say, I was watching an English lesson when the internet stopped. This is natural English. You are not using grammar just to pass a test. You are using grammar to explain a moment. The past continuous gives your listener a small picture. It helps them imagine the situation. Let's practice it slowly. Say this sentence after me. I was practicing English last night. Again, I was practicing English last night. Now say, I was listening to a lesson when my friend called. Again slowly. I was listening to a lesson when my friend called. Now make your own sentence. You can say, I was eating breakfast when my phone rang. You can say, I was going to work when I saw my friend. You can say, I was studying when I felt tired. You can say, I was speaking English when I made a mistake. Good. Mistakes are also part of speaking. If you can talk about your mistake in English, you are already improving. Now compare past simple and past continuous, because this comparison is very helpful. Past simple tells us a finished action. Past continuous tells us an action that was happening at that time. I watched a movie last night means the action is complete. I was watching a movie when you called means the movie was happening at the moment of the call. I cooked dinner is a finished action. I was cooking dinner when my brother came home gives more detail. I studied English yesterday is simple and complete. I was studying English when I heard a noise creates a scene. When you understand this difference, you can speak more naturally about your day and your experiences. Now let's move to the fifth tense, the present perfect. Many learners feel afraid of this tense, but I want you to relax. You do not need to make it complicated. Present perfect helps you connect the past with now. That is the main feeling. Something happened before, but it is important now. You can say, I have finished my work. This means the work is finished and the result matters now. You can say, I have learned many English words. This means your learning happened before, but now you have that experience. You can say, I have visited that place. This means at some time in your life, you visited it. The exact time is not the main focus. The experience is the focus. In daily life, present perfect is very useful. Someone may ask, have you eaten? You can say, yes, I have eaten, or no, I haven't eaten yet. Someone may ask, have you finished the report? You can say, yes, I have finished it. Someone may ask, have you seen this video? You can say, yes, I have seen it. Someone may ask, have you ever spoken English with a foreigner? You can say, yes, I have spoken English with a foreigner. Or no, I haven't tried that yet. This tense helps you talk about experiences, completion, and things that matter now. Let's practice the present perfect with your English learning. Say, I have learned many useful sentences. Again, I have learned many useful sentences. Now say, I have practiced speaking today. Again, slowly. I have practiced speaking today. Now say, I have made mistakes, but I have not stopped. This sentence is powerful because it is true for many learners. You have made mistakes, but you have not stopped. You have felt nervous, but you have continued. You have forgotten words, but you have tried again. This is not only grammar, this is your English journey. Now make your own present perfect sentences. You can say, I have watched many English lessons. You can say, I have written English sentences. You can say, I have practiced pronunciation. You can say, I have tried to think in English. You can say, I have improved slowly. Notice that you do not always need to mention the exact time. You are talking about your experience up to now. This is why present perfect feels different from past simple. If you say, I watched a lesson yesterday, you are focusing on a finished time. If you say, I have watched many lessons, you are focusing on your experience until now. Now let's compare past simple and present perfect in a very clear way. If the time is finished and specific, use past simple. I watched a lesson yesterday. I studied English last night. I called my friend 2 hours ago. But if the time is not specific or the result matters now, use present perfect. I have watched many lessons. I have studied English for a long time. I have called my friend, so now I know the plan. You do not need to be perfect with this immediately. Just start feeling the difference. Past simple feels like a finished point in the past. Present perfect feels like a bridge from the past to now. The sixth tense you need is the present perfect continuous. This tense sounds long, but the idea is simple. You use it when something started in the past and is still continuing now, or when you want to show recent continuous effort. For example, I have been learning English for 3 years. This means you started 3 years ago, and you are still learning now. You can say, I have been practicing speaking every day. You can say, I have been watching English videos this month. You can say, I have been trying to improve my confidence. This tense is useful because many things in life are not just one action. They are journeys. For English learners, this tense is especially useful because your progress is a process. You can say, I have been studying English for a long time. You can say, I have been working on my pronunciation. You can say, I have been trying to speak more naturally. You can say, I have been listening to slow English lessons. These sentences help you explain your effort. They show that you are not starting today only. You have been doing something again and again. You have been building a skill. You have been training your brain. You have been giving time to your English voice. Let's practice this tense slowly. Say, I have been learning English for 2 years. Again, I have been learning English for 2 years. Now change the time if you want. You can say, I have been learning English for 6 months. You can say, I have been learning English for 5 years. You can say, I have been learning English since school. Now say, I have been practicing speaking every day. Again, slowly. I have been practicing in speaking every day. Now make your own sentence. Maybe you say, I have been improving my listening. Maybe you say, I have been trying to speak faster. Maybe you say, I have been building my confidence. Now let's connect these 3 tenses in a small story. Listen carefully. Yesterday, I studied English for 30 minutes. I was practicing pronunciation when my brother came into the room. I have learned many useful phrases, and I have been trying to use them in daily conversation. Look at how natural that sounds. You used past simple for a finished action. You used past continuous for an action in progress in the past. You used present perfect for experience. You used present perfect continuous for a continuing effort. This is how tenses work together in real life. They are not separate boxes. They are tools that help you tell the full story. Now I want you to practice your own small story using these tenses. Start with a past simple sentence about yesterday. You can say, yesterday I practiced English. Then add a past continuous sentence. You can say, I was repeating sentences when I noticed my pronunciation. Then add a present perfect sentence. You can say, I have learned many useful phrases. Then add a present perfect continuous sentence. You can say, I have been trying to speak more confidently. Now speak all 4 sentences together. Do not rush. Let your mouth feel the rhythm. This exercise is powerful because it teaches your brain how to move between time ideas naturally. My friend, can you see what is happening now? You are not studying grammar like a list of heavy rules. You are learning how to speak about your life. You can talk about what happened yesterday. You can describe what was happening in a moment. You can talk about what you have done until now. You can talk about what you have been doing for a long time. This is real communication. This is the kind of grammar that gives you freedom. And when you practice like this every day, you begin to understand that tenses are not your enemy. Tenses are your helpers. Now let's move into the future, because every learner needs to talk about plans, decisions, hopes, and promises. The 7th tense you need is the future simple. And in daily English, you often use will for decisions, promises, offers, predictions, and things you believe about the future. You can say, I will call you later. You can say, I will help you. You can say, I will practice English tonight. You can say, I think I will improve if I keep practicing. This tense is simple, direct, and very useful. You do not need to overthink it. When you decide something in the moment, or when you want to say what you believe will happen, will is your friend. Let's practice it slowly. Say, I will practice English today. Again, I will practice English today. Now say, I will speak more confidently. Again, slowly. I will speak more confidently. Now make your own sentence. You can say, I will listen to English for 10 minutes. You can say, I will write 5 sentences. You can say, I will not give up. You can say, I will make mistakes, but I will continue. These sentences are not only grammar practice, they are small promises to yourself. When you say them out loud, you are training your mind to see English as something you can use, not something you must fear. Now, many learners ask, should I use will or going to? This is a very common question, and the simple answer is this. You can use going to for plans and intentions that already exist in your mind. For example, I am going to study tonight. This means you already have a plan. I am going to watch an English lesson after dinner. This is also a plan. I am going to practice speaking for 15 minutes. This is your intention. In daily English, going to is extremely common because people talk about plans all the time. They talk about what they are going to do after work, what they are going to eat, where they are going to go, who they are going to meet, and how they are going to improve. Let's practice going to in real daily sentences. Say, I am going to practice after this lesson. Again, I am going to practice after this lesson. Now say, I am going to speak English out loud. Again, slowly, I am going to speak English out loud. Now make your own plan. You can say, I am going to review my notes. You can say, I am going to learn 5 useful phrases. You can say, I am going to talk about my day in English. You can say, I am going to record my voice and listen to it. This is powerful because you are not only learning a future form, you are creating a real practice plan. Now let's compare will and going to in a simple way. If your decision is happening now, you can use will. For example, your friend says, I need help, and you answer, I will help you. But if you already had the plan before, you can use going to. For example, I am going to help my friend tonight. Both forms are useful. Do not become afraid of choosing the wrong one. In many daily conversations, people will still understand you. Your goal is not perfect grammar in every second. Your goal is clear communication. The more you practice, the more natural your choices become. The 8th tense you need is the future continuous. This tense helps you talk about something that will be happening at a certain time in the future. For example, I will be working at 8 o'clock tomorrow. You can say, I will be studying English tonight. You can say, I will be traveling next week. You can say, at this time tomorrow, I will be practicing speaking. This tense is useful when you want to describe a future action in progress. It is not used every minute, but it is useful enough to know because it helps you sound more natural when you talk about future schedules and future moments. Let's practice future continuous slowly. Say, I will be practicing English tonight. Again, I will be practicing English tonight. Now say, at 8 o'clock I will be studying. Again, slowly. At 8 o'clock I will be studying. Now make your own sentence. You can say, tomorrow morning I will be working. You can say, this evening I will be listening to English. You can say, next week I will be improving my speaking. You can say, at this time next month I will be speaking more confidently. Feel how this tense gives you a picture of the future. It helps you imagine yourself doing the action. Now you have the main 8 tenses that can help you speak with much more confidence. You have present simple for routines. You have present continuous for now. You have past simple for finished actions. You have past continuous for actions happening in the past. You have present perfect for past actions connected to now. You have present perfect continuous for actions that started before and continue until now. You have future simple and going to for decisions, plans, and predictions. And you have future continuous for future actions in progress. With these patterns, you can talk about most daily situations. You can speak about your morning, your work, your family, your study, your mistakes, your progress, your plans, and your future goals. Now let's do one full practice exercise using all these ideas together. Listen first, then repeat in your own voice. I study English every day. Right now I am practicing tenses. Yesterday I watched a lesson about grammar. I was listening carefully when I understood something important. I have learned that I do not need every tense to start speaking. I have been practicing simple sentences for a long time. I will keep improving if I continue. Tonight, I will be using these tenses in my own sentences. Now say it again more slowly. Do not rush. Let each sentence feel clear in your mouth. This kind of practice is much better than only reading rules. You are training your brain to move through time naturally. Now make this exercise about your own life. Start with your routine. Say, I practice English every day. Then talk about now. Say, I am practicing speaking right now. Then talk about yesterday. Say, yesterday's I learned something useful. Then talk about a past moment. Say, I was listening carefully when I understood the lesson. Then talk about your experience. Say, I have studied English for a long time. Then talk about your continued effort. Say, I have been trying to speak more confidently. Then talk about your future decision. Say, I will practice again tomorrow. Then talk about a future action in progress. Say, tomorrow evening, I will be speaking English out loud. If you can say these 8 sentences, you are already using the most useful tense tools for daily speaking. My friend, please remember this. You do not need 14 tense names in your mouth before you begin speaking. You need useful sentence patterns that help you express your life. Do not wait until grammar feels perfect. Speak with the grammar you already know, and improve it while speaking. Every confident speaker was once a learner. Every natural sentence was once difficult. Every fluent voice was once slow, nervous, and unsure. So from today, stop carrying the whole grammar book into every conversation. Carry simple tools. Use them, repeat them, make them personal. Talk about your real day. Talk about what you do, what you are doing, what you did, what you have done, what you have been doing, what you will do, and what you will be doing. This is enough to begin, and beginning is what changes everything. Now let's make this even more practical, because knowing the 8 useful tenses is not enough if you only keep them in your head. You need to bring them into your mouth. You need to practice them in small real-life situations until your brain stops feeling afraid. Many learners make one big mistake with grammar. They study the tense, understand the example, feel happy for a moment, and then they close the lesson without speaking their own sentences. But your speaking confidence grows when you use the tense with your own life. So from now on, every time you learn or review a tense, ask yourself, how can I use this today? If you learn present simple, talk about your routine. If you learn past simple, talk about yesterday. If you learn present perfect, talk about what you have done in your life or in your English journey. This is how grammar becomes alive. Let's take a very simple daily situation. Imagine someone asks you, tell me about your English learning. A nervous learner may think, which tense should I use? But a trained learner can answer calmly. You can say, I study English every day. I am practicing speaking more often now. I started learning English a few years ago. Last night I watched a useful lesson. I have learned many words, but I still need more speaking practice. I have been trying to speak out loud for 10 minutes every day. I will continue this habit tomorrow, and next week I will be practicing longer conversations. This answer is not too difficult, but it sounds complete. You are using different time ideas naturally. You are not showing grammar to impress someone. You are using grammar to explain your real story. Now try this with your work or study life. Say something like this. I work during the day. I am learning new skills these days. Yesterday, I finished an important task. I was checking my messages when my manager called me. I have completed many small projects this month. I have been trying to manage my time better. I will plan my work more carefully tomorrow. At this time next week, I will be working on a new goal. My friend, this is the kind of speaking practice that changes your confidence. It connects grammar with your real world. You are no longer just repeating empty textbook sentences. You are teaching your brain to describe your own life in English. Now let's talk about another important point. You do not need to use all 8 tenses in every conversation. Please do not think, I must use every tense when I speak. That would make speaking feel heavy again. These tenses are tools, not rules you must force into every sentence. In one conversation, you may only need present simple and past simple. In another conversation, you may need present continuous and future with going to. In a job interview, you may need present perfect to talk about experience. In a story, you may need past simple and past continuous. The goal is not to use everything at once. The goal is to know which tool helps you say what you mean. For example, if someone asks, "What do you do every day to improve your English?" you mostly need present simple. You can say, "I listen to English lessons. I repeat useful sentences. I write short paragraphs. I practice speaking for 10 minutes. If someone asks, "What are you doing these days?" you need present continuous. You can say, "I am working on my pronunciation. I am learning to speak more naturally. I am trying to stop translating in my head." If someone asks, "What did you do yesterday?" you need past simple. You can say, "I watched a lesson. I practiced speaking. I wrote 5 sentences. I reviewed my mistakes." This is simple, but this is real spoken English. Now I want you to do a daily speaking drill. Choose one normal topic, like your morning, your job, your family, your food, your English practice, or your weekend. Then speak about that topic in 3 time directions. First, talk about your normal routine. Second, talk about what is happening now. Third, talk about what happened yesterday. For example, I drink tea every morning. I am drinking tea while I listen to English now. Yesterday I drank tea and watched an English video. This small drill trains your brain to move between tenses. You can do it with any topic. I go to work by bus. I am going to work now. Yesterday, I went to work early. I study English at night. I am studying English right now. Yesterday, I studied for 20 minutes. Simple practice. Repeated daily creates strong speaking habits. Another useful exercise is the question and answer exercise. Many learners practice only statements, but real conversations include questions. So train yourself to ask and answer. For present simple, ask, "What do you do every morning?" and answer, "I wake up early and prepare for my day." For present continuous, ask, "What are you doing right now?" and answer, "I am practicing English." For past simple, ask, "What did you do yesterday?" and answer, "I watched a lesson and repeated some sentences." For present perfect, ask, "Have you practiced today?" and answer, "Yes, I have practiced for 10 minutes." For future, ask, "What are you going to do tomorrow?" and answer, "I am going to practice speaking again." This is how you prepare for real conversation. Now let's focus on confidence. Confidence does not mean you never make mistakes. Confidence means you can continue even when you make mistakes. Maybe you say, "Yesterday, I go to market," and then you realize it should be, "Yesterday, I went to the market." That is okay. Correct yourself gently and continue. Do not punish yourself. Do not stop speaking for the whole day because of one wrong verb. Native speakers understand imperfect English when the message is clear. Your job is to keep improving, not to become perfect in one day. Every mistake gives you information. It shows you what to practice next. So instead of saying, "I am bad at tenses," say, "I am training my tenses." That small change in thinking can protect your confidence. The best way to remember these 8 tenses is to build a short daily routine. Spend 5 minutes speaking about your day. Start with the present. I usually wake up early. I work or study during the day. I practice English when I have time. Then move to now. Right now, I am listening. I am repeating sentences. I am building confidence. Then move to the past. Yesterday, I practiced for 10 minutes. I watched a lesson. I learned something useful. Then move to experience. I have learned many things. I have made mistakes. I have improved slowly. Then move to future. I will practice again tomorrow. I am going to speak more. Tonight, I will be reviewing these sentences. This routine may sound simple, but if you do it every day, your speaking will become smoother. My friend, remember this lesson deeply. You do not need to wait until all 14 tenses feel perfect. You can begin with the 8 tenses that carry most daily conversation. Use them with your real life. Use them with your morning routine. Use them with your work. Use them with your family. Use them with your goals. Speak short sentences first, then longer sentences later. Repeat the same patterns until they become automatic. And when your mouth becomes comfortable with these basic patterns, your confidence will grow naturally. English will stop feeling like a heavy subject and start feeling like a useful voice you can use every day. Now let's go one step deeper and talk about how to stop overthinking tenses while speaking. This is one of the biggest problems for English learners. You may know the tense when you are reading. You may understand the example when a teacher explains it. You may even answer correctly in a grammar exercise. But when someone talks to you in real life, your mind becomes crowded. You think about the subject, the verb, the time, the helping verb, the correct form, the mistake you made last time, and what the other person will think. That is too much pressure for one conversation. Speaking needs speed, and speed comes from practice, not from thinking about every rule one by one. So instead of trying to remember a long grammar explanation, I want you to train with simple time questions. Ask yourself, is this about my normal life? If yes, use present simple. I work every day. I study English at night. I drink coffee in the morning. Then ask, is this happening now? If yes, use present continuous. I am working now. I am studying English right now. I am drinking coffee at the moment. Then ask, is this finished in the past? If yes, use past simple. I worked yesterday. I studied English last night. I drank coffee this morning. These small questions make grammar faster because you are not thinking about 14 names. You are thinking about meaning. Now let's use a daily situation. Imagine you are talking to a friend about your weekend. You can say, I usually stay home on Sundays, but yesterday I went outside. I was walking in the park when I saw an old friend. We talked for a few minutes. I have not seen him for a long time, so I felt happy. I have been trying to meet more people and speak more confidently. Next Sunday, I am going to visit another friend, and in the evening, I will be preparing for work. This short story uses several tenses, but it does not feel like a grammar lesson. It feels like life. That is the goal. You want grammar to disappear inside your message. Let's practice with another situation. Imagine you are talking about food. You can say, I usually eat breakfast at home. Today, I am eating a little late because I woke up late. Yesterday, I made eggs and tea. I was cooking when my phone rang. I have tried many different breakfast foods, but I have been eating simple meals recently. Tomorrow, I am going to make something healthy, and at this time tomorrow morning, I will be having breakfast before work. My friend, can you feel how useful these tense patterns are? You are not using rare grammar. You are using normal English to talk about normal life. This is exactly what confident speakers do. Now I want you to repeat this kind of practice with your own topic. Choose one topic from your life. It can be your job, your study, your family, your morning routine, your evening routine, your phone habits, your food, your exercise, your English learning, or your weekend. Now speak about it in a simple flow. First, say what you usually do. Second, say what you are doing these days. Third, say what you did yesterday or last week. Fourth, say what was happening during one past moment. Fifth, say what you have done until now. Sixth, say what you have been doing recently. Seventh, say what you will do or what you are going to do. Eighth, say what you will be doing at a future time. This sounds like a long exercise, but after you practice it a few times, it becomes natural. For example, if your topic is English learning, your answer can be, I practice English every day. These days I am focusing on speaking. Yesterday, I repeated 10 sentences. I was practicing in my room when I noticed my pronunciation was improving. I have learned many useful patterns. I have been trying to speak without translating. Tomorrow I am going to record my voice. At night, I will be listening to my recording and correcting my mistakes. This is a complete speaking practice. You can do it alone. You do not need a teacher. You do not need a speaking partner. You only need a few minutes, a quiet place, and the decision to speak. Now let's make the practice even more natural by using questions. Questions are important because many learners can make statements, but they become nervous when someone asks something. So practice answering quickly. If someone asks, "Do you study English every day?" you can answer, "Yes, I study English every day." If someone asks, "Are you studying right now?" you can answer, "Yes, I am studying right now." If someone asks, "Did you study yesterday?" you can answer, "Yes, I studied yesterday." If someone asks, "Were you studying last night?" you can answer, "Yes, I was studying last night." If someone asks, "Have you studied today?" you can answer, "Yes, I have studied today." If someone asks, "Have you been studying for a long time?" you can answer, "Yes, I have been studying for a long time." If someone asks, "Will you study tomorrow?" you can answer, "Yes, I will study tomorrow." If someone asks, "Will you be studying tonight?" you can answer, "Yes, I will be studying tonight." Now try to answer with more personal details. Do not only say yes or no. Add one extra sentence. If someone asks, "Do you study English every day?" say, "Yes, I study English every day. I usually practice for 10 minutes." If someone asks, "Are you studying right now?" say, "Yes, I am studying right now. I am learning how to use tenses better." If someone asks, "Did you study yesterday?" say, "Yes, I studied yesterday. I watched a lesson and repeated the examples." If someone asks, "Have you been studying for a long time?" say, "Yes, I have been studying for a long time, but now I am trying to speak more actively." This small habit makes your answers stronger. It helps you move from short, nervous answers to confident, natural answers. My friend, the biggest goal is not to sound perfect. The biggest goal is to stay in the conversation. If you forget a tense, use a simpler sentence. If you cannot say, "I have been learning English for 3 years," you can say, "I started learning English 3 years ago, and I still learn now." That is okay. Communication is more important than showing a perfect tense. If you cannot use future continuous, say a simple future sentence. Instead of, "I will be working at 8, you can say, "I will work at 8. People will still understand you." Later, when you feel stronger, you can improve the sentence. Do not let one tense stop your whole voice. So from today, make a promise to yourself. You will stop using grammar as a reason to stay silent. You will use grammar as a tool to speak. You will practice the 8 useful tenses with your real life. You will speak small sentences every day. You will correct yourself gently. You will repeat the patterns until they feel easy. And little by little, you will notice something beautiful. You will not need to think so much before every sentence. Your mouth will start to remember. Your brain will start to choose faster. Your confidence will become stronger because you are finally training English in the way you need to use it. Now let's finish the main lesson by giving you a simple way to use these 8 tenses without fear. I want you to stop thinking of tenses as 14 different doors that you must open perfectly. Instead, think of them as a small group of useful roads. One road helps you talk about your normal life. One road helps you talk about what is happening now. One road helps you talk about yesterday. One road helps you describe what was happening in a past moment. One road helps you talk about your experience until now. One road helps you explain your continued effort. One road helps you talk about your plans and decisions. One road helps you describe a future moment in progress. When you see tenses like this, your mind becomes calmer because each tense has a real purpose. Now I want you to create your own daily tense map. This is a simple practice you can do every day for 5 or 10 minutes. First, talk about your normal routine. Say, "I wake up early. I check my phone. I get ready for work. I practice English when I have time." Then talk about what is happening now or these days. Say, "I am learning tenses. I am trying to speak more clearly. I am building confidence step by step." Then talk about the past. Say, "Yesterday, I watched a lesson. I repeated some sentences. I made a few mistakes, but I continued. Then describe one past moment. Say, I was practicing English when I noticed that my speaking felt smoother. After that, talk about your experience. Say, I have learned many useful words. I have practiced many times. I have improved more than I realize. Then talk about your continued effort. Say, I have been learning English for a long time. I have been trying to speak without fear. Then talk about your future. Say, I will practice again tomorrow. I am going to use these tenses in my own sentences. Finally, talk about a future moment. Say, tomorrow evening, I will be practicing English for 10 minutes. This small map gives your brain a complete speaking workout. It trains your present, your past, your experience, your progress, and your future. You do not need a long lesson every time. You do not need a difficult grammar book in front of you. You only need to speak simple sentences about your own life. And when you repeat this every day, something important begins to happen. Your brain starts recognizing time faster. Your mouth starts forming sentences more easily. You stop feeling that every sentence is a test. You begin to feel that English is a tool you can use to express your real thoughts. Now let's do one more full practice together. Listen first, then speak slowly in your own voice. I use English in small ways every day. Right now, I am learning how to speak with better tense control. Yesterday, I practiced simple sentences. I was repeating them when I realized that grammar can be simple. I have learned many rules before, but now I have understood that speaking needs practice. I have been trying to use English more actively. I will continue this habit tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I will be practicing again with my own examples. This is the kind of paragraph you should practice again and again. It is not too advanced, but it is complete. It gives you control over time. It teaches you to move from one tense to another without panic. Now change this paragraph and make it about your personal life. You can say, I work hard every day. Right now, I am learning English after work. Yesterday, I felt tired, but I still practiced. I was sitting in my room when I decided to speak out loud. I have made many mistakes, but I have learned from them. I have been trying to become more confident. I will keep going tomorrow. At this time next month, I will be speaking more naturally. This kind of practice is powerful because it sounds like your real story. You are not copying someone else's life. You are training English with your own thoughts, your own schedule, your own struggle, and your own progress. Another important thing is to simplify when you feel stuck. Confident speakers do not always use the most advanced tense. They use the clearest tense. If you are in a conversation and you cannot remember present perfect continuous, do not freeze. Say it another way. If you cannot say, I have been learning English for 2 years, say, I started learning English 2 years ago, and I still learn now. If you cannot say, I will be working tomorrow evening, say, I will work tomorrow evening. If you cannot say, I was studying when he called, say, I studied, and then he called. Later, you can improve the sentence. But in the real moment, your first job is to communicate. Clear English is better than silent English. So when you practice tenses, do not only ask, is this sentence perfect? Ask better questions. Can I say my meaning? Can the listener understand me? Can I continue speaking? Can I correct myself gently? These questions are much more useful for real fluency. Grammar matters, yes, but grammar should support your voice, not block it. The purpose of tenses is not to make you afraid. The purpose of tenses is to help you show time. When you say, I study, the listener understands your routine. When you say, I am studying, the listener understands now. When you say, I studied, the listener understands the past. When you say, I will study, the listener understands the future. This is the heart of tense confidence. Now I want you to make one promise to yourself. For the next 7 days, choose one normal topic every day and speak about it using these tense patterns. On one day, talk about your morning routine. On another day, talk about your English learning. On another day, talk about your work or study. On another day, talk about your weekend. On another day, talk about your family. On another day, talk about your goals. On another day, talk about your progress. Keep your sentences simple. Repeat the useful patterns. Record your voice if you can. Listen again. Notice one mistake. Correct it. Then practice again. This is how confidence grows. Not through pressure, but through repeated use. Remember, you do not need to know every tense perfectly before you begin speaking. You need enough useful grammar to start, and then you need practice to make it natural. These 8 tenses can carry a very large part of daily conversation. They can help you talk about what you do, what you are doing, what you did, what was happening, what you have done, what you have been doing, what you will do, and what you will be doing. That is a lot of English. That is enough to tell stories, answer questions, explain your routine, share your experience, describe your progress, and talk about your plans. So do not wait for perfect grammar. Start with useful grammar. Use it every day. Make it personal. Make it simple. Make it active. And little by little, the tenses that once felt heavy will become part of your natural English voice. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end of this lesson, my friend. I really hope this lesson helped you feel lighter and more confident about English tenses. Remember, you do not need to carry all 14 tenses in your mind before you're to see you speak. You do not need to wait until grammar becomes perfect. You can begin with the most useful tenses, practice them with your real life, and slowly make them natural in your mouth. Speak about what you do, what you are doing, what you did, what you have done, what you have been doing, and what you will do next. Keep your sentences simple. Keep your practice daily. And most importantly, keep going even when you make mistakes, because mistakes are not the end of your English journey. They are part of your training. If this lesson helped you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who also feels confused by English grammar. Keep practicing a little every day, and remember that confidence does not come from knowing everything. Confidence comes from using what you know again and again. I'm Jack Ma, and I'll see you in the next lesson.